And welcome back to Clutch Time. Today we are continuing our off-season tour where we actually pull up to different campuses here, and we'll be jumping into the locker rooms, talking to different coaches, different players, really giving you some insight as to what these teams are working on as we continue on in the off-season, hopefully getting you ready and prepared for this upcoming season. And so in today's episode, we are actually going to be talking about Coach Skinny Washington of Wake Forest. We got a chance to talk to him. Then we're also going to be talking about Cam Jones. And so we got a chance to speak with him. And Cam Jones had a terrific run with SMU. And so definitely hungry. So can't wait to share the insights here. But let's go ahead and let's start in Wake Forest with Coach Skinny Washington. And I think that really the key out of this with Coach Washington is it's all about really setting the tone. I think that that is really what I got from him, is just that this is a coach that is coming in and he's trying to set a tone and really get an identity started with Wake Forest. And I think that that is really key, especially when you're talking about trying to get this program really turned around and into the right direction. And hopefully at the top of this conference, it starts with having good habits. It starts with definitely coming in, making sure that you're working on the fundamentals. And so, in fact, this is what Coach Washington had to say. And so I'll be paraphrasing a bit of this, but we did get a chance to, again, talk to him and ask him a couple questions here. And so first thing that he talked about is just, again, talking about just learning the fundamentals for this program and just understanding, how things need to be executed the way that Coach Skinny Washington wants to execute things. He talked about really how he feels with just the direction and the AD and the program, really allowing him to go out there and put this program together the way that he wants to do it. And so I think that that's huge, especially when you're talking about building a program, because you need to have that type of freedom to go out there and just, go get the players that you need to, coach the way that you need to, and really instill the discipline the way that you need to. And so good to hear that Coach Washington is on the same page with the AD, because it is more than just going out there and coaching up players. You definitely need to have a great team around you, and you got to have that supporting cast. And it does start with the AD there. So it's good to see that Coach Washington is able to go ahead and start to put his stamp on things that way. Next, Coach Washington here, he talked about two players that he thinks are really going to take a huge step here. And he talks about Carter Fields and then also to J.C. Graham. Both of those players, he expects for them to really take a major step forward with this program as far as the leadership is, just concerned there. And so with the leadership, you're talking about two players here that he feels like they're coming back into this season. They had really a chip on their shoulder, and he feels like that they're looking to really build off of what they did last season. And so I love the fact that, he's turning here to players who definitely have some experience here for Wake Forest. And you definitely need that, especially when you're trying to, instill the identity of your program. You need to go out there and you need to lean on players that, have done it already. These are players that, certainly the players coming in are going to look at. And so the fact that you have, just the, how can I say it, the awareness, you have the presence of your leaders from last season, and yet really you have their attention. And I think that really, it helps you, because as a coach, you can go ahead, you can point here to the players, and then they can actually be the example for you here. And so the fact that he's gone in and he's got J.C. Graham and then also to Carter Fields on board with what he's trying to build here, I think that this is going to work, in Coach Washington's favor and really in Wake Forest's favor here. So curious to see how this is going to work out. And so lastly, another thing that Coach Washington shared with us here in closing, when I got a chance to talk to him, is he was just talking about the fact that he feels like that with this team, this is a team that he feels like that the one goal that he set here is we're not only going to be just basketball players, but we're going to be pillars in the community. And so I love the fact that it's about more than just basketball for Coach Washington. And I've said this before, during the broadcast and things like that, that at the end of the day, not everybody is going to go to the next level. Not everybody's going to excel at this game. But when you come to a college campus and, you sign up to be coached by, a coach like Coach Washington, he's not only trying to get you to become a great player, but he's also trying to transition you to become, just a great person outside of the basketball court. So I love the fact that this is definitely one of his pillars and a principle here. And this is something that, look, I think that Wake Forest, no matter what the record is, these guys are already winning. And so I appreciate here Coach Skinny Washington taking the time here to, just give us some insight as to where Wake Forest is right now in their program. And also, too, letting us to hop in here and take a look at some of the scrimmage action here. So Wake Forest, expect them to definitely have an improvement next season. And I just think that the key here is about setting the tone, setting the principle, because remember, look, winners, look, they always do winning things, and it starts with having winning habits. And I think that Coach Washington is certainly instilling those. And so next, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to talk about Cam Jones. And so Cam Jones, look, I thought that Cam Jones had a terrific run with SMU last season, and they were definitely the talk of Hoopsteria. And Cam Jones, man, look, every time that you go and you pop into the social post, you see that this guy is in the lab. And the one thing that I got from him is just like he's really, I think, looking for greatness. I get the sense of real excellence from Cam Jones. And I'm excited to see what SMU is going to do this upcoming season. In fact, when I got a chance to talk to him, the first thing that he talked about and really his focus coming into this season has been just really working on his strengths and working on his ball handling and things like that. And so you're talking about a player that, if you're locked into your ball handling and you're able to get to where you want to go to on the floor, I feel like that the game just really unlocks for you to another level, because when you're able to go ahead and you're able to be creative off the bounce, I feel like that really the offense just opens up that much more for you. I think that you're more one-dimensional if you don't have a handle. And so the fact that he's really wanting to lock in on that, I'd expect for Cam Jones to be a bit more of a creator next season and perhaps to take his offense to another level. I want to see, is he a player that is he going to be able to get to his mid-range spots and then take down defenses that way? Is he going to be able to get all the way to the cup? We'll see what happens with this improved handle. Next, he's talking about just his whole thing as far as, where he's at with this team kind of heading into this season. And he says that he feels like, look, they're heading in the right direction here. He's definitely looking forward to going out here and competing at a high level. And he talks about just a couple players that really have stood out in the locker room. He talks about Keon Young and how, his locker room presence has been so far. And so it sounds like that Cam Jones is in a place where he is looking to take the next step forward. And I love what he was talking about, towards the end. We asked him, like, what are your goals here for next season? And he said that, look, I want to be the player of the year. Like, I love the fact that he's setting that high standard for himself. And I'm just glad to see that he's in the lab. And I want to see how this really pays off for SMU as a whole. Because remember, last season, you had Maury Washington, you had Duvall, you had Cam Jones. They were huge last year in Hoopsteria. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Again, as we continue this offseason tour where we're going to be pulling up, we're going to be talking to players, coaches, you name it, whoever wants to talk to us here in the locker room. Again, as we continue to just continue on this offseason tour and just really getting you set here for the season. Still got some time to go, but Cam Jones, and then also to Coach Skinny Washington taking the time to talk to us. And so appreciate both of them. You guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about this show. And as we always say, look, see the game and be the game. We'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.